You can tell everything about a woman by how she starts her morning, not by the car she drives, the clothes she wears, or the title on her business card, but by the discipline, focus, and self-respect she brings to the first hour of her day. High-value women don't roll over and scroll. They rise with purpose. They don't chase time. They create it. Every decision before the world wakes up becomes a message to themselves. I'm in control. I decide how this day unfolds. Because being a high-value woman isn't about luxury, status, or perfection. It's about mastering yourself first thing in the morning. Your morning is a mirror of your mind. Every choice you make in those first moments tells the truth about who you are when no one's watching. When you wake up and immediately grab your phone, you're handing control of your mind to the world before you've even taken a breath for yourself. But when you rise with purpose, even if it's just 5 minutes earlier, you're saying, I lead my day doesn't lead me. That's what separates women who react from women who command. The first hour of your morning sets the tone for how you'll think, act, and respond to everything that follows. When your mind is cluttered, your morning will be chaotic. You'll rush, you'll forget, you'll feel behind before you've even begun. But when your mind is disciplined, your morning is calm. You move with clarity, not anxiety. That quiet control isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, brick by brick, through consistency. You teach your mind that you're in charge, that you're capable, that you can trust yourself to show up. The woman who masters her morning doesn't need to control the world. She only needs to control her state of mind. It starts with awareness. Ask yourself, how do I treat the first hour of my life every day? Do I spend it reacting to others, or do I spend it building myself? Most people think success is about what happens during the day, the meetings, the achievements, the results. But true success is built before the sun rises. It's built in silence, in the choices no one applauds you for. That's where discipline grows. That's where confidence is born. When you start your morning with intention, you shift your energy. You begin to move differently. You speak differently. You think differently. You stop chasing approval and start commanding respect, not from others, but from yourself. You stop letting emotions decide how your day will go. You decide. Because the truth is, your emotions are followers. Your actions are the leaders. When you take charge of your actions in the morning, everything else falls in line. A high-value woman doesn't need motivation to get out of bed. She has standards. She knows that how she shows up in the morning determines how she'll show up for the rest of her life. And when things get difficult, when she feels tired, uninspired, or uncertain, she doesn't give in to that weakness. She reminds herself that she's built for more, that her habits define her strength, that every morning is another opportunity to build herself stronger than the day before. So, if you want to change your life, don't start with your goals. Start with your mornings, because every morning you're either training yourself to rise or training yourself to settle. And the woman who chooses to rise again and again, no matter how she feels, is the woman who eventually becomes unstoppable. High-value women don't wake up to the world. They wake up for themselves. The difference might sound small, but it changes everything. Most people open their eyes and immediately let the noise of the world rush in. They scroll through messages, check notifications, and fill their minds with other people's priorities before even checking in with their own. But a woman who values herself doesn't do that. She starts her morning not in reaction, but in reflection. Before she gives her energy to anyone or anything, she gives it to herself. She knows that the first voice she listens to in the morning sets the tone for her entire day, and she makes sure that voice is her own. She doesn't rush out of bed in a panic or let anxiety dictate her pace. Instead, she creates a moment of stillness. She sits with herself, breathes, and reconnects with who she is and what she stands for. Because being a high-value woman isn't about doing more. It's about being present, centered, and intentional. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that you are enough before the world tells you what you should be. When she wakes up for herself, she isn't just preparing for a day. She's preparing her mindset, her emotional armor, her peace. This practice builds a deep kind of power, the kind that doesn't shout, but is felt. A woman who gives herself those first moments in the morning develops emotional clarity. She doesn't let the world decide her mood, her pace, or her worth. That's why she's unshakable. When everyone else is drowning in noise, she stands calm in her own truth. She's not trying to prove herself to anyone because she already knows her value. She doesn't need the world's validation. She already gave it to herself when she chose to prioritize her peace first. This kind of mindset doesn't happen overnight. It's built through discipline, through the daily decision to check in with yourself before checking in with others. It might be sitting with your coffee in silence, writing down your thoughts, or speaking affirmations out loud. It's about asking, what do I need today to stay aligned with who I want to be? That's not selfish, that's self-respect. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and high-value women understand that giving to the world starts with giving to themselves first. When a woman learns to wake up for herself, she no longer moves through life seeking permission. She leads her day with intention, and that intention ripples into every interaction, every goal, every challenge. She walks into rooms differently because she's already grounded in her own energy. The world feels her presence not because she's loud, but because she's aligned. And that's the kind of power that doesn't fade. It grows stronger every morning she chooses herself first. Energy before exposure. That's a principle every high-value woman lives by. The moment you wake up, your energy is fresh, pure, untouched. It's the most powerful and sacred part of your day, and what you do with it decides how everything else unfolds. But most people give it away without a second thought. They wake up, grab their phones, scroll through the chaos, and suddenly their minds are full of other people's opinions, expectations, and noise. Before they've even stood up, they've already allowed the world to drain them. A high-value woman doesn't do that. She guards her morning energy like a queen guards her throne, with awareness, intention, and respect. When she wakes, she doesn't reach for validation or distraction. She reaches for herself. She understands that her energy is her responsibility. Before she's exposed to the world, she chooses to feed her spirit, her body, and her mind. It might be a glass of water, a quiet stretch, or a few deep breaths. It might be a prayer, a few pages from a book, or silence that reconnects her with her thoughts. Whatever it is, she knows that peace isn't something she stumbles upon. It's something she creates deliberately. She refuses to start her day reacting to what others are doing because she knows her power comes from within, not from what she consumes. Every notification, every headline, every post, it all carries energy. When you let it in too early, it sets the rhythm for your entire day. You start comparing, doubting, worrying. But when you start your day by charging yourself first, you walk into the world already full. You're not looking for validation because you've already given yourself reassurance. You're not seeking direction because you've already grounded your focus. That's why high-value women appear calm in chaos. They've already built their center before the storm even starts. It's not about rejecting the world. It's about mastering how you interact with it. A woman who values her energy doesn't cut herself off from life. She simply chooses to meet it on her own terms. She gives herself time to prepare mentally and emotionally so that when she does face people, tasks, and challenges, she's not drained. She's ready. She knows that the strength she carries throughout the day is directly connected to how she protects her mornings. Her energy is her foundation, and she never lets anyone take from it before she's even had a chance to fill it. Energy before exposure is a declaration of self-respect. It's saying, my peace is my priority. It's refusing to hand over control of your mind before you've even opened your eyes fully. It's understanding that how you start determines how you finish. A high-value woman doesn't let the world set her tone. She sets it herself, and that's what makes her unstoppable. She doesn't wait for energy, she builds it. She doesn't look for inspiration, she becomes it. Because she knows that when her energy is strong, there's nothing in this world she can't face with grace and power. Move like you mean it. That's not about working out for an image, a number, or a mirror. It's about movement that tells your body and your mind, I am here, I am capable, and I am in control. A high-value woman doesn't move out of guilt or pressure. She moves because she respects herself. She understands that her body is her vehicle, and how she treats it determines how far she'll go. When she wakes up and chooses to move, whether it's a run, a stretch, a walk, or a workout, she's not chasing aesthetics. She's setting a tone of strength, discipline, and aliveness. Movement first thing in the morning isn't about perfection, it's about connection. When you move your body, you reconnect with yourself. You remind yourself that you are not just a mind filled with worries, tasks, and responsibilities. You are energy in motion. That energy is what fuels confidence. It's what builds resilience. It's what separates a woman who drifts through her day from one who commands it. Every push-up, every breath, every step is a statement. I don't wait for motivation. I create it. And that's the quiet difference that builds extraordinary women. A high-value woman knows that motion shifts emotion. When you move, you release tension, anxiety, and doubt. You change your internal state before the world even has a chance to challenge you. You don't wait to feel good to take action. You take action to feel good. That's what most people get wrong. They sit and wait for energy to arrive. But energy comes from movement, not from waiting. It's in the sweat, the heartbeat, the rhythm of effort. The moment you decide to move your body intentionally, your mind follows. You gain focus, clarity, and an undeniable sense of power that carries you through the rest of the day. This doesn't require a gym or a strict routine. It's not about the type of movement. It's about the intention behind it. It could be a few minutes of stretching, a walk outside, or a full workout session. What matters is that you're telling yourself, I am worthy of my own time and effort. You're reminding your body that it's strong and capable. You're training your mind to follow through. That consistency builds something deeper than physical strength. It builds self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of every high-value woman's confidence. When a woman moves like she means it, she's not just training her body, she's training her identity. She's shaping her mindset, one rep, one breath, one moment at a time. And soon, that discipline bleeds into everything she does. She makes decisions faster. She carries herself taller. She walks into every situation knowing she can handle whatever comes her way, because she's already proven it to herself that morning. Movement is her daily reminder that she's not powerless, she's not stuck, and she's not waiting for change. She is the change. Every morning, she moves with purpose because she knows that strength isn't just something she shows, it's something she builds, from the ground up, every single day. Stillness builds strength. In a world that constantly demands motion, attention, and noise, the ability to be still is a rare kind of power. Most people wake up and immediately rushing to check messages, rushing to get ready, rushing to keep up with everyone else. But a high-value woman doesn't start her day in a race. She starts it with presence. She understands that stillness isn't weakness and silence isn't wasted time. It's in those quiet moments, before the day begins, that she reconnects with her strength, her clarity, and her purpose. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the inner work, the kind no one sees but everyone feels. It's the prayer whispered before stepping into the day. It's the deep breath that grounds her when life feels heavy. It's the page in her journal where she writes out her fears so they no longer control her. In stillness, she learns to listen to her intuition, to hear her own voice above the world's noise. And that's where her true composure is built. Not in pretending she's unbothered, but in mastering her response before she ever needs to use it. When you give yourself stillness, you give your mind space to breathe. You stop reacting to life and start responding to it with intention. That calm, collected energy people admire in strong women. It's not natural luck, it's cultivated through practice. It's born in the quiet moments where she learns to sit with her thoughts without letting them control her. She doesn't run from her emotions, she understands them. She doesn't suppress her stress, she processes it. That's why she's able to stand tall when others fall apart. Her strength isn't loud, it's quiet. It's not about how much she can carry, but how gracefully she can balance it. Stillness is where emotional intelligence is built. When you slow down, you begin to see what truly matters. You realize what drains you, what inspires you, and what deserves your energy. A high-value woman uses that awareness to make better decisions. She doesn't chase every opportunity or respond to every noise. She moves strategically, guided by peace rather than pressure. Her calm becomes her compass, and it allows her to lead herself and others with steady confidence. This stillness becomes her anchor. When the world tests her, she doesn't crumble because she's already met herself in silence. She's faced her fears, her insecurities, her doubts, not with judgment, but with understanding. And in doing so, she's built a foundation that cannot be shaken by anyone or anything. That's what makes her strength so magnetic. It's not built from force, but from peace. It's not a mask she wears, it's a state she maintains. Stillness is not about escaping life, it's about mastering it. It's where you find your truth, your power, and your direction. A high-value woman knows that when her inner world is calm, her outer world follows. And that's why she protects her peace above everything else. Because she knows that from stillness, all real strength is born. She dresses for the day she deserves. This isn't about vanity, trends, or impressing anyone else. It's about showing up as the woman she knows herself to be before the world has a chance to define her. Every outfit she chooses, every detail she considers, is a message to herself first. It says, I am worthy, I am confident, I am prepared for the life I want to live. Clothing becomes more than fabric. It becomes armor, a declaration of her standards, and a reflection of the energy she carries into every interaction. When she dresses intentionally, she sets the tone for her day. She doesn't wait to feel confident. She creates confidence through action, through presence, through the way she presents herself to the world. A high-value woman knows that how she looks is not about vanity, it's about alignment. The way she carries herself visually reinforces the way she carries herself emotionally and mentally. It's a constant reminder that she is in control of her image, her space, and her life. Each morning, she chooses garments that resonate with her energy, not with someone else's approval. Dressing for the day she deserves is also about preparation. She doesn't leave herself to chance or last-minute decisions because she understands that small choices compound into larger results. She dresses with intention to honor her time, her presence, and her goals. The right outfit doesn't just make her look put together, it makes her feel put together. That feeling seeps into her posture, her voice, her energy. People notice not just what she wears, but how she moves, how she interacts, and how firmly she claims her space. This habit is about respect, self-respect, and the subtle power of first impressions. It's about creating a visual boundary that says she values herself enough to step into the world with care. It communicates discipline without words, confidence without arrogance, and presence without forcing it. Even in moments of uncertainty, the way she presents herself acts as an anchor, reminding her of her worth, her goals, and the standards she refuses to compromise. Dressing well is a ritual, a conscious choice to honor herself before the day begins. A high-value woman knows that energy is contagious. When she dresses for the day she deserves, she not only uplifts herself, but also influences the energy around her. People respond to confidence, preparation, and self-respect. She doesn't seek validation, but she inspires it because her energy radiates authenticity. She understands that her appearance is not the sum total of her value, but it is a tool, a way to align her inner strength with her outer presence. It's a daily act of power, a signal to the universe that she is ready for what she deserves, and she will not settle for anything less. By choosing her attire with intention, she reinforces a deeper truth. The life she desires begins with the respect she gives herself. Every morning becomes an opportunity to embody her worth, to walk into the world unapologetically aligned with her energy, and to show that she is ready to claim her day, her goals, and her power. Dressing for the day she deserves is not superficial. It is a high-value woman's secret weapon, a daily ritual that bridges who she is with who she is becoming. A high-value woman leads with intention. She doesn't let her day happen to her. She shapes it, moment by moment, with purpose. Every action, every decision, Every commitment she makes is measured against the life she's building. She doesn't fill her schedule with meaningless tasks or distractions because she understands that time is her most valuable currency. When she plans her day, she's not simply organizing, she's aligning her energy with her values, her goals, and the version of herself she is striving to become. Intentionality begins the moment she wakes. She asks herself not just what she has to do, but why she is doing it. She separates the urgent from the important, the fleeting from the meaningful. In a world that glorifies busyness, she understands that productivity without purpose is empty. By leading with intention, she transforms every action into a step forward, every challenge into an opportunity, and every interaction into a reflection of her standards. Her day is not a series of reactions. It's a deliberate expression of who she is and what she stands for. Planning with intention is also about self-awareness. She knows her strengths, her limits, and the environments that bring out her best work. She doesn't overcommit, nor does she allow others to dictate her priorities. Boundaries are her invisible scaffolding, keeping her focused on what truly matters. A high-value woman understands that saying yes to everything often means saying no to herself. Her intentional approach ensures that every choice honors her goals, her energy, and her peace of mind. She doesn't chase fleeting obligations. She cultivates meaningful achievements that feed her growth and her confidence. Leading with intention is not only about tasks, it's about mindset. She starts her day with clarity, visualizing how she wants to feel, what she wants to accomplish, and the impact she wants to create. Her mental rehearsal shapes her behavior, influencing how she communicates, how she responds to challenges, and how she navigates opportunities. By planning her internal and external environment with care, she positions herself to operate at her highest potential. She doesn't rely on luck or fleeting motivation. She relies on the strategy she has carefully constructed for herself. A high-value woman also uses her intentionality to influence others positively. She doesn't react impulsively to people's expectations or societal pressures. Instead, she engages with others from a place of clarity, making choices that align with her principles rather than external approval. Her leadership begins with herself, her focus, her energy, and her priorities, and radiates outward. The impact is subtle but undeniable. People notice her presence, respect her boundaries, and are drawn to the confidence that comes from someone who lives by purpose, not chance. Ultimately, leading with intention is an act of empowerment. It is the conscious decision to take ownership of one's day, one's energy, and one's life. A high-value woman doesn't drift through circumstances. She navigates them with awareness and strategy. Every morning, every hour, every choice is an opportunity to reinforce her identity, her goals, and her standards. By living intentionally, she doesn't just survive, she thrives, crafting a life that is not only productive, but profoundly aligned with who she is and who she is becoming. Boundaries are her morning armor. A high-value woman understands that her time, her energy, and her focus are sacred. She doesn't give them away carelessly or allow the world to dictate how she feels before she's even had a chance to center herself. The first hour of her day is a protected space, a sanctuary where she determines how she will engage with life, what she will accept, and what she will reject. She knows that losing control over these early moments can ripple throughout the entire day, affecting her mood, her decisions, and her power. She sets her boundaries with clarity and confidence. When she wakes up, she chooses what enters her mind and heart. She doesn't scroll through social media, check unnecessary messages, or absorb the anxieties of others before she's grounded. She understands that the world will always demand something from her, but the difference between overwhelm and composure lies in how she manages those demands. By shielding herself first thing in the morning, she builds resilience against distractions, negativity, and energy drains. Her boundaries are not walls to isolate her. They are the framework that allows her to operate at her highest level. Boundaries also mean saying no without hesitation. A high-value woman doesn't apologize for protecting her peace. She doesn't feel guilty for declining invitations, messages, or tasks that would compromise her energy or distract her from what truly matters. Each no she delivers is a statement of self-respect and intentional living. She knows that time spent protecting her morning is an investment in her day, her goals, and her well-being. Without these boundaries, even the most disciplined habits can be undermined, but with them, she creates a stable foundation for success, confidence, and emotional balance. Her morning armor is built on self-awareness. She knows what triggers stress, what drains her focus, and what elevates her mindset. She arranges her environment and her routines to support her energy rather than disrupt it. This might mean starting her day in silence, meditating, journaling, or moving her body intentionally before engaging with the outside world. Whatever it is chosen deliberately to honor her mind and her body. These practices are not random. They are tools she wields to maintain control over her state of being. Boundaries extend beyond physical actions. They are emotional and mental as well. A high-value woman recognizes that not every thought, opinion, or expectation deserves a space in her consciousness. She filters what she allows in, giving priority to what aligns with her goals, values, and vision for herself. This discipline cultivates clarity and emotional stability, preventing unnecessary stress from dictating her day. She becomes impervious to external chaos because she has fortified her inner world. By protecting her mornings, she doesn't just defend herself, she empowers herself. She sets the tone for the entire day, establishing authority over her energy and focus before anyone else can influence it. Every choice she makes in the early hours reinforces her self-respect, her strength, and her worth. Boundaries are her silent power, invisible to some, yet unmistakably felt by those who encounter her. They allow her to show up fully, uncompromised, and unstoppable, proving that a high-value woman's greatest strength is her ability to protect herself first, so she can conquer everything that follows. Gratitude is her grounding. A high-value woman understands that no matter how ambitious she is, no matter how much she desires or plans, her mindset shapes the life she experiences. She begins each day not with complaints or comparisons, but with acknowledgement of what already exists, the life she's been given, the lessons she's learned, and the opportunities she has before her. In those first quiet moments, she counts her blessings, large and small, recognizing that appreciation is not just an emotion, but a practice that strengthens her resilience and expands her perspective. She knows that focusing on what's missing, on what hasn't been achieved, or on what others possess, leads to dissatisfaction, anxiety, and distraction. Gratitude, however, flips the script. By starting her morning acknowledging what she already has, her health, her mind, her abilities, her relationships, or even the lessons from past mistakes, she establishes a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. This perspective allows her to approach her day with confidence, creativity, and openness, rather than fear or limitation. Her awareness of her current blessings becomes fuel for growth rather than a source of complacency. Gratitude grounds her because it creates clarity. When she reflects on what she values, her priorities become sharper. She stops chasing what the world tells her she needs and begins pursuing what truly aligns with her vision and values. She doesn't let comparison, envy, or societal pressures dictate her self-worth. Instead, she anchors herself in appreciation for what she has, which allows her to operate from a place of strength, not insecurity. That grounding is subtle but powerful. It guides her decisions, conversations, and actions with calm confidence. Practicing gratitude also strengthens her emotional resilience. Life will always present challenges, disappointments, and setbacks, but a woman who grounds herself in appreciation is less likely to be shaken by them. She sees obstacles not as insurmountable barriers, but as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to refine her character. Gratitude becomes a lens through which she perceives every difficulty as temporary, manageable, and meaningful. It's a practice that empowers her to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, to maintain composure when others falter, and to preserve her peace when the world feels chaotic. Her morning gratitude practice is not just mental, it's physical and emotional. It might be a journal, a prayer, or simply a conscious reflection on her life. It's an act of intentionally setting her energy on abundance rather than lack. That choice influences how she interacts with people, tackles tasks, and faces opportunities. It creates a ripple effect, shaping not only her day, but the energy she brings into every relationship and environment she enters. Gratitude is the anchor that keeps her grounded in self-respect, presence, and clarity. It reminds her that her worth is not dependent on external approval, material possessions, or fleeting success. Instead, it comes from awareness, appreciation, and alignment with her own life. By beginning each morning in gratitude, she cultivates a mindset that multiplies abundance, strengthens resilience, and amplifies her power. She moves through her day rooted, centered, and unstoppable because she knows that true strength begins with acknowledging the life she already possesses. Discipline over motivation is the quiet, unshakable force that defines a high-value woman. She doesn't wait for inspiration to strike, for the mood to feel right, or for the circumstances to align perfectly. Motivation is fleeting, unpredictable, and unreliable. But discipline is consistent, steadfast, and transformative. She knows that waiting for motivation is a trap, that if she relies on how she feels in the moment, she will never accomplish what she is truly capable of. Her actions are guided not by temporary emotion, but by the standards she has set for herself, the principles she refuses to compromise, and the vision of the life she is determined to create. Every morning, discipline reveals itself in the small decisions she makes before the world even stirs. She wakes up on time, moves her body, sets her mind, and tends to her priorities, even when she doesn't feel like it. The choice to act, to follow through, to honor her commitments before the day demands it, is what separates women who drift through life from women who shape it. She doesn't let the comfort of staying in bed, the allure of distraction, or the ease of procrastination dictate her reality. Discipline is her backbone. It carries her through moments when motivation falters, doubt rises, or fatigue threatens to take hold. She understands that habits are the real architects of her life. Motivation may spark action, but habits sustain it. Every routine she builds, every standard she upholds, becomes a tool that shapes her character, reinforces her confidence, and strengthens her resolve. She doesn't measure success by how motivated she feels, but by whether she shows up consistently and intentionally for herself and her goals. Each small, disciplined choice compounds over time, creating momentum that no fleeting emotion could ever generate. Discipline also teaches resilience. Life is unpredictable, and there will always be challenges that make it tempting to quit, skip, or settle. A high-value woman meets those moments not by hoping she will feel inspired, but by relying on the structure she has already built. Her standards are non-negotiable, her routines are sacred, and her self-respect demands that she keep going, even when the world resists. In this way, discipline becomes a form of self-empowerment, a daily demonstration that she controls her actions, her energy, and her outcomes, regardless of how she feels. By choosing discipline over motivation, she cultivates consistency, reliability, and integrity in her life. She becomes someone who doesn't rely on luck, mood, or fleeting enthusiasm to achieve her goals. She becomes someone who creates results through steadfast effort, intentionality, and unwavering commitment. Discipline turns ordinary days into progress, small choices into transformation, and consistent actions into an extraordinary life. The high-value woman knows that motivation may inspire, but discipline delivers. It is her constant companion, her invisible strength, and the foundation upon which she builds everything she desires. In the end, discipline over motivation is not just a habit, it is a mindset, a way of life. It's the daily refusal to settle for less than her standards, the conscious decision to act regardless of feelings, and the unwavering commitment to her growth, her power, and her purpose. This is the force that separates fleeting dreams from lasting achievement, and it is the hallmark of a high-value woman who doesn't wait for the world to give her energy. She creates it herself, every single day.